Heartstruck.
By Angeli E. Dumatol.
I usually spend my Tuesdays and Thursdays working on my anyo, or forms. The carefully choreographed movements require more than just strength and endurance, but also elegance and grace. I've always thought of it as more of a dance rather than a mere sequence of battle moves, but challenging as it may be, I find upcoming with Likha Anyo routines really enjoyable. Today is one of those Anyo Thursdays. Deciding to forgo my math homework until after practice, I hurriedly change into my training gear and head for the studio, eager for work on some solo Anyo routines, only to find out that someone else has already beaten me there. It may not be an official performance, but it is beautiful. Instantly captivated by the sight of him in his element, I can't help but watch and admire his form. He moves across the floor, the only sound coming from the swish of his bastons. He strides from one side of the room to the other, his arms creating perfect arcs overhead. A soundless turn follows along with a succession of upwards and downward strikes. He turns again before performing a series of strikes facing the opposite direction. Another arc of the baston brings him facing forward, delivering a sharp strike to the floor with a thundering battle cry. He rises with yet another turn, so he faces the door right where I'm standing. He is about to perform a quick redonda when his eyes meet mine. My presence surprises Theo, causing him to lose hold of one of his sticks. Laglag, I declare, gesturing towards his dropped baston. Point deduction. Theo shakes his head and laughs, wiping at his forehead with the back of his hand. He walks to retrieve his fallen weapon. Getting it back in his grip, he swings it over his shoulder and then down.
Wasn't expecting you until a little later.
Yeah, well, I got away from the girls a little earlier, I shrugged, walking up to him and trying really hard not to stare at his bare, sculpted chest and abdomen. Much to Tito Tim's dismay, Theo tends to train without his shirt on. And no matter how many reprimands he gets, he can't seem to drop the habit. Aren't you going to put on a shirt? Don't. Oh, you're more than fine.
No? Fine without one, don't you think?
Definitely more than fine. Be grateful that Tito Tim isn't here. I ignore his growing smirk and walk over to the usual corner to put away my sling case, my water bottle, and face towel. Then, swinging my own sticks, I turn to face him. Want to try something different today?
What?
Let's do an anyo showdown. Something like a dance-off.
Interesting.
Sia walks towards the center of the studio.
Is that a challenge?
A suggestion, I amend.
Inspired by my moves.
He moves to attention stance. Challenge or suggestion accepted. Nope, I just want to show off mine. I take my place in front of Theo 2 meters away from where he stands and take my own attention stance. The two of us keep our eyes on each other, neither one willing to break the other's gaze. Handa! We stand at attention. Pugay! Then sticks held shoulder level at arm's length to our right, we bow in salutation to each other. Crossing my bastons in front of me, I swing them down and swiftly follow up with simultaneous overhead twirls. Twirls are a specialty of mine, and I fully intend on showing my skill off, just to wipe that smirk off Theo's face. I finish my sequence with a complete turn, lunging forward with one baston above my head and the other held in front of my body, pointing the end directly at Theo in clear challenge. The smirk on his face has indeed disappeared, replaced with what looks like astonishment before he jumps into a crouching position, one baston held in front of his chest and the other behind him. Theo yells out a battle cry before jumping straight back and breaking into a series of alternating upward and downward slashes. He follows with a swift swing around the head, flourished with a smooth forward thrust, perfectly timing his strides, so he ends right smack in front of me, holding the end of his right baston mere inches from my face. You're enjoying this too much, I comment, my heart practically threatening to break free of my chest. Too close, I meet his eyes dead on. His eyes so expressive that they convey everything he doesn't say out loud. They tell me that he really is enjoying all this. And to my surprise, I am too. They also tell me to trust him, that he's not going to let me get hurt, That the basta never had a chance of coming into contact with my face, and it never will. I parry his weapon to the right and dive into a roll into the left, landing on a bent knee. I twirl my rattan sticks at my sides and cross them overhead with a determined shout, and get up on my feet while turning 180 degrees. I almost commit a laglag violation when I come face to face with Theo, who had soundlessly moved to stand a mere meter from me.
Think fast.
He says, before suddenly throwing a barrage of strikes my way. My reflexes kicking in, I block each one and when I can, counter with my own, all of which he easily blocks, himself or dodges. Theo keeps at it and his strikes continue growing in force. I am left with little choice but to take deliberate steps backward until finally there are no more steps left to take. We're long out of bounds. With my back against the wall and my sticks held limply at my sides, too slow to counter, Theo cages me between his crossed bastons and grins.
Do you yield?
Paglabag, I protest, in between panting. We were doing a showdown, not full contact. Why did you? Towering over me with his height, Theo leans down and forward, his grip unwavering on his rattan sticks, willing me still and unable to escape his gaze. Not that my eyes have ever left him since we started this weird dance. I don't know why, but in that moment, trapped in the cage of his bastons, looking straight into Theo's beautiful eyes, I find the courage to ask him the question I've wanted to ask for so long. I wait for my breath to catch up with my newfound courage before speaking. Why did you disappear 7 years ago? Heartstruck.
By Angeli E. Dumatol.